Hello and welcome to the Construction Corner podcast. I'm Dillon, I'm your host, and on today's episode, we're going to address a few different things. I'm going to cover a few different topics, and we're going to bounce around a little bit today on the show. But first, I want to remind you to rate and review us on iTunes or Spotify. If you like the show, please share it out. I mean, we don't really run ads, we don't have sponsors, but we want to spread the goodwill through the industry and to help bring a variety of different topics to light. So in return, if you like this show, please tell a friend, please share it. And we really appreciate your support and thank you for listening. So the first thing I want to talk about is really the learning curve and why it's worth it. And this is going to go to like technology adoption, a few different things. But first, in the learning curve, I want to talk about Revit in particular. So this is going to really apply to more of the design side of the table versus the construction side. This would be the same as learning like Navisworks, PlanGrid, Procore, a lot of the other softwares and technologies out there. With the current state that we're in with trying to reduce travel exposure to people and really just trying to help increase productivity, we've found and seen that companies that have been more willing to adopt technology, been quicker to adopt technology, whether that's in using mobile phones to do job site walkthroughs, using like the spot dogs to go through construction sites to do photos and progress updates, have seen a lot more success. They've been way more productive, and I'd have to go back and look. I was listening to a presentation the other night where those that were adopting technology were advancing tremendously more. I think it's like 20-30% more in the construction industry by doing that, using spot dogs. So it's by Boston Dynamics or Boston Robotics. They were 41% more, or there was 41% waste as compared to laser scanning. They were really 2 times more productive using spot dogs to, walk through the job site. It's a big robot. It looks like a dog. It's got 4 legs. You put some cameras on it, and it goes around the job site. You tell it where to go. And the average life expectancy for these spot dogs is 3 to 5 years. And, with like a project engineer and the companies that were talking about this were in the Bay Area, and they could see a payback, from these spot dogs. So the spot dog is $74,500, which compare that to a project engineer, you're going to get payback really under a year for those spot dogs. And they use them in collaboration with people. So you get more pictures, more even. They're always at the same height. And then any places that are harder to get access to, then a person would go and do those progress photos versus the spot dog. So again, just helping augment what people are doing and really helping that productivity piece. But let's talk about learning curves. So with Revit in particular, I posted a while back on LinkedIn, Revit versus AutoCAD. And by and large, everybody was a big fan of Revit. There's also a lot of firms that I talk to that still use AutoCAD. And I ask, why are you still using AutoCAD? It's not BIM. It's not anything in the technology realm. Like, how are you doing any sizable projects in AutoCAD today? And a lot of it is just there's older people within the firm. They don't want to learn, and they're just okay with doing what they're doing. There's a lot of stuff in AutoCAD, like creating sheets is a real pain. Doing stuff to scale is a pain, can be. And there's a few things like that, schedule sheets, views, scaling, that's way easier in Revit than it ever was in AutoCAD. But this is all part of a learning curve, right? You have to be in it. You have to learn how to do something, and you have to take the time, effort, energy to learn how to do it. It's just like when you learn how to walk, you didn't give up after the first try. You kept going at it. This is like any new skill. Learn how to tie your shoes, riding a bike. You got to keep going at it. And the learning curve, like if you've ever learned to ski or snowboard, for some, what they say is maybe for snowboarding, it's a little easier to get into it, and then you kind of plateau, and it takes a while to get then to the next level, right? So it's fairly easy to ride a snowboard maybe for some people, and then you plateau, and then you got to really work on it to get to that next level. Whereas with skiing, it's maybe not as easy to learn to ski, but when you do, you can accelerate. It's a longer front end of that curve, and then the back end is a much more accelerated rate. So if you look at like an exponential curve, it's long and flat for the bottom, and then it'll hockey stick. Whereas for snowboarding, you get a hockey or a upward trajectory, and then it plateaus, and then you go again. So you get kind of this bump within the graph. And Revit is kind of the same way. There's some things that are going to be very simple, very intuitive for you in learning Revit, and then there's going to be some other parts that are not maybe as simple. So it'll be more like a snowboarding curve where you're going to go up, and then you're going to plateau, and then you're going to go up again. After a while within Revit, you're going to find little things, little hacks to improve and increase your productivity rates within Revit. This goes for a lot of stuff. Navisworks is probably that same way, where it's maybe a little harder up front. So it's more like skiing in a way, where it's maybe harder up front to understand what you're doing. And then as you become more and more proficient, your learning curve and what you're able to do, exponentially increases. So the learning curve is super important, super big for basically anything that you're doing. And I really just implore you to go and dive into Revit. If you've been on the sidelines about any of this technology stuff, don't know where to go, don't know how to start, don't know what you're going to do next, please learn Revit, learn Navisworks, learn BIM, and it will be very beneficial for you to do that moving forward. I know it's not probably easy up front, but when you're in it, you're going to now have a great skill to propel you down the line. It's just tough seeing people that are so hesitant, so fearful, so unwilling to invest a little bit of time to become proficient in something that's going to be so beneficial to their career. I've seen comments of a guy that was like, Revit took my job, or, I got put out of work because of Revit. It's like, man, Revit's been around for 15 years now. If you didn't see this coming, if you were for 15 years hesitant to adopt, and even in the last 10 years or 5 years, you were hesitant to adopt and change, and there's nothing stopping you from adopting and changing and learning today, I can't really help you. Nobody can really help you. You shot yourself in the foot. You kept yourself from growing, from learning, from getting better. And that is no one's fault but your own. You could say that the company didn't help you through it, but at the same time, there's so many resources out there on YouTube. There's tons of trainings. Some you might have to pay for, but you have ways to go and improve yourself. And if you haven't gone and improved yourself, and you're blaming this technology for coming and taking your job because you were stuck in your ways of AutoCAD, man, yeah, you deserve to be out. If you haven't grown, if you haven't improved your skills, this is for a lot of stuff. For if you're an engineer, to improve your engineering skills, to learn about different fixtures, to keep updated on codes, to keep updated on a lot of that type of stuff, energy codes, National Electric Code, plumbing code, mechanical codes, new technologies, new pump designs, going and doing these continuing education hours. That is what all those are for, is to keep you updated and knowing what is new, what's going on, and how to better serve your clients. No matter what you're doing, no matter what side of the industry you're on, construction, engineering, if you're a general contractor, field engineer, electrician, whatever it is, there's always something that you can be learning within your industry. Maybe if you're an electrician, hey, you want to learn estimating. Maybe you want to learn or go and see new tools and how you can be more productive on the job site, something that's not going to kill your back. Like, there's a lot of tools being developed and generated to help just with safety, with not being on your hands and knees or bending over all the time, so that you can be in your position in the trades longer, right? You don't have to stop working for 20 years in the industry because your back's just screwed up, or your knees or hips or whatever, that you have tools that are better for ergonomics effectively and how you do your job, right? Make it easier, safer, all those great things. And even think about how you can create a tool that is going to be beneficial on the job site. There's ways to wrap intellectual property, basically a patent around that, and then, maybe sell it to somebody or just use it within your own firm. So there's a lot of ways to grow, to develop, but the learning curve can be steep in some of these, and it's not going to happen overnight. You're going to have to keep pounding away at it, day after day, and keep learning, growing, seeing it as a opportunity, seeing it as something fun, seeing it as something that is going to make you better, seeing it as something that you're going to enjoy doing, right? You shift that mindset from, crap, I got to go do this or that or whatever again, then to, oh man, this is a great opportunity for me to learn. This is a great way to grow. This is fun. This is cool. Oh, how do you do that? And then you get that little dopamine hit of like, oh man, I did it. This is cool. This is fun. Like think back to maybe the first couple times on a job site. If, what was going on? What were you doing? How did you feel when you accomplished that first thing, or you saw it come together, or you saw the pieces move into place? Like, how cool is that? How cool was that? Like, why did you get into construction? You probably wanted to see something come up out of the ground and maybe build it with your own two hands or design it with your own mind. Like, those are the things that got you into construction. Those are the things that made you love this industry. And it's to think about, what are other ways that you can trigger that sense of joy, that sense of accomplishment, that ability to learn and grow and develop and, man, feel some pride in what you're doing. Construction through everything, was in most places an essential service. We need people to be in the construction industry. We need people to want to go to work. We want people to, build the buildings that we occupy on a daily basis, whether that's the houses, the bars, the restaurants, the clubhouses, the hospitals, the schools. Construction is a big backbone of our economy, of our industry, of our world. Buildings have come a long way, especially in the last 50 years, and will continue to grow and develop and change and become new and great places. And I want more and more people to enjoy construction. We do have our challenges. We do have the kind of heartbreaks, if you will, through the industry. We have a lot of fighting. But if we can be a little more helpful, a little more encouraging to say that, hey man, you can grow that. You can do something else. You can develop a new set of skills. Like, it's okay. Hey, I know it's not always the easiest thing to do, but you could do it. Someone else did. Hey, it might take you a little longer. You might not get there as fast, but you can do it. And that's what we need to do to each other. Have encouraging words, have a conversation. If you start calling people names, it's not going to end well. But to have a conversation, have the ability to grow and develop and improve and just be positive. We need some more positivity in our world, in our landscape, and for construction. I heard this on another podcast. Construction and the industry is one of the largest industries for suicides, and I think that's because we are fighting. It's not always an easy thing on the job sites. It can be seasonal, so you got to find ways to be positive, encourage others, reach out. We want people to do well. We want the industry to survive. We need people to be positive, shining lights in this industry. We hate to see and lose anybody from this world before they're meant to go. And so being a little more positive, encouraging people, saying that, hey man, you can do it, or great job, or hey man, I love that you were doing this, but hey, can we improve this? And again, keep up the great work. We got these few little places for improvement, but you're doing a great job, right? It's that compliment sandwich of, hey, this is great. This needs a little work, but hey, keep it up. You're doing wonderful. We love having you here. All those little bits of encouragement, of positivity, of a way to shine a light out into the world will make people like you and it'll, keep people here. So it's a short little podcast, short little episode today, but really this goes back to the learning curve. It might take you a little while to learn something. It might take you a little while to grow, to develop, to make that skill, make that thing an actual skill, right? To actually embed what you've learned into who you are, and the ability then to teach others. So I hope you go out. I hope you learn something new, even if it takes you a little while, but start down that path of learning it and adopting technology. It's going to really benefit you, the team, in adopting, whether it's Revit, Navisworks, Procore, PlanGrid, our software, whatever it might be that you're going to use to learn and grow and develop. We'd love to see that, to see you become more productive, safer, and really just allowing everybody to work longer, have longer careers, not longer days, but longer careers, that they're not, burnt out from the stress of the job or just the physical nature of construction. So that is this episode of the Construction Corner podcast. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to rate, review, and share us. And until next time.